Hey guys, this is JT here. I'm going to actually do a brushless conversion from our ARRMA Granite. I went ahead and took the liberty of, you guys got to excuses because this is really dusty. We really ran these cars the other day. But I went ahead and took the liberty of going ahead and uninstalling some of the things. You guys know that the drive shaft here is spring launched, so you just actually push the rear end first and then pull it out, and that comes out actually. The next thing you're going to want to do is there's a screw under here. I already took that out. You're going to want to take this one screw in here out. Excuse me. And then once you do that, there's a piece in here that you slide forward. This comes up, and then you flip this up and push this forward. So I've already done that part right there. And then the next thing you're actually going to do is take out these 3 screws, which I actually did. So, and while I'm in here, since I drove this in a lot of dust, I have a little toothbrush that I use to kind of dust and brush some of my RC stuff off, especially around this transmission section. So now that I got that off, the next thing I'm going to do is change out the pinion gear. I'm actually going to put I think I'll go to 17. I got a 17 over here, a 15 and a 17. So I'm going to go with a 17 size pinion gear in here and not a 14, which comes with the stock, and not a 15 either, because I'm going to put a 4,000 kV motor in here to get this thing running. So went ahead, I got this out. You guys see how dirty my motor is too, so I need to clean this anyway. So what I'm going to actually do too is I'm going to remove this, because you see all that kind of dust and grime and stuff in there as well. So I usually have a little can up in here, but I was trying to get this going for you guys real quick, because I know there's been a lot of requests on a brushless granite. And I'm going to do this, but I'm not going to go crazy with it. I'm not going to go like 3S or anything like that in it, because I just want to put this system in here, and I'm going to only run it on 2S. So I'll remove this stuff in just a minute. But what I want to go ahead, we'll go ahead and do that now. So to remove the ESC, it's actually just 2 screws right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and unscrew this. And I didn't realize how much dust I got in here. I was really running this thing yesterday with a friend, and we were really getting into it, and we were just, dust clouds were everywhere. So anyway, gonna get this up and removed. These 2 screws will actually also help you get into the receiver box. So luckily this is dust proof. There's no dust or anything, as you guys can see there inside my receiver. And I actually blew this off just a little bit before I started this video. So from that point, you guys know that there's 3 channels. This is an actual 3-channel receiver. So we're going to remove, of course, channel 2 out of here. And basically, we are going to remove the ESC from the car and the motor. So get this up real quick. Sorry guys, I was trying to do some preliminary work so this wouldn't be such a long video on converting this out. JT, the screw is underneath. What I was doing was trying to unscrew. There's a piece in here that helps you secure down the motor wire. So I was unscrewing it from the top. So you don't want to do that. So it's kind of late night here as well. So I'm going to put this screw right over here so I don't lose this. Take this out, voila, bam. This is out and removed. I'm going to have to really clean this off, because you guys see how dusty and dirty this is. So set that to the side. Actually, it's a 3900. I'm going to put a 3900. This is RC Gear Shop. You guys know I use this just about in every single car I got. So because I like these motors. They're good power. They're not overpowered. They're not underpowered. They're just about the right amount. So, but anyway, what we want to do is, I told you guys before that ARRMA has predefined hose in here, and this is going to keep you to get a good gear mesh as well, so you won't end up stripping it out. So we're going to put this in the hose marked for 17. So I'll put this one screw right there for 17, and I'll just somewhat screw this in. You guys get to see it all. No editing, no cutting out. I'm just doing it here. So if a screw drops on the floor, I will pause it. Anyway, we'll remove this out from the 14. The 17, that's 15 is there. 17 is right here. So we'll just somewhat screw this in, but not all the way. Just so that when I put the motor up to it, it'll be fine. So we'll screw this in here, and then I'll go ahead and get the motor. I'm gonna mount this kind of high here, but I'm gonna go ahead also and get my pinion gear and mount my pinion gear on here. So I'll put this pinion gear right probably about there. I may have to adjust that just a little bit. I'm not 100% sure just yet. But right there on the edge, and I'm going to check this actually against the brush motor. And what I'm doing is I'm checking where the pinion gear is going to be mounted, because I want to make sure that since this is a different pinion gear, ARRMA actually sells a 17-tooth pinion gear, but this is just an aftermarket one, and you see the size difference as well. I want to make sure that this grub screw does not rub up against the spur gear and tear that up. So I'm going to have to move this up possibly just a little bit, but I'll show you guys what I mean real quick. So if we put this here, I'm going to have to dust this off too real quick. But what I want to avoid is, of course, that screw is not screwed in all the way. I want to avoid putting this in and having this grub screw, if you guys can see that there, this grub screw rubbing on the pinion gear, because you guys see there that it will rub on there. So I'll have to reverse this pinion gear around and possibly stick it in the other way to keep that from happening. So I'll put this here, slide this down, adjust this just a little bit to make sure. That looks like that's going to be better. So if you have a shortened or aftermarket pinion gear and it's not long, you want to reverse it and put it on, I guess, kind of a standard way. We'll push that down just a little bit. Hopefully that's going to be a good correct. Because you want to make sure that when this touches on here that the teeth actually touch on the spur gear. It's not like barely touching or anything, even though it's got pre-set holes. You want to make sure that this has enough space so that this touches all on almost all the pinion gear. You don't want it to touch just on the edge or anything. So that seems like I'm going to have to adjust it just a tad bit more. I'm going to adjust it up just a little bit. I think right there should be just fine. So we have that there. I'm going to go ahead and take this out because this screw is actually in the way of me pushing the spur gear in here all the way. So I'm going to adjust it so these wires are sticking up. Get my 2.5 and start working on finding the hole there for that. Get this right here. Said you guys are seeing this unedited. I may pause it here and there to get a couple pieces on here just to save on some time, so that we're not spending a lot of time doing this. As a matter of fact, let me pause this. I'm going to get this on. I'm going to brush this off real quick. Only thing I'm going to do is take my toothbrush and brush this off and then check the bearings real quick to make sure everything's fine. So give me just a second. Let me get this together. Okay, we're back. Went ahead and brushed this off just a little bit. You guys see I got a lot of dust and dirt everywhere. So I do apologize about all the dust and dirt everywhere. But I do have this in. I got all the little durables and everything out of there. So we're just going to, that with the 17-tooth pinion gear in there, just going to go ahead, slap this back on here real quick. And I guess I need an electric one, right? Instead of doing this manual, make it a little bit quicker. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to screw these three screws in real quick. So let me go ahead and do that. All right, guys, so got this all together. Everything is running smooth and fine. It's got a little bit of resistance because it's got, of course, the 4-pole motor in here. But I'm just turning it just to make sure. I know the grub screw didn't rub on the spur gear, but this is just a second, third level of precaution just to make sure. So the next thing I want to do is go ahead and I'm going to put the ESC wire back into the channel 2 on here. I'm going to dust this off a little bit because for this speed controller, I don't have any screws to mount on. I have double-sided tape, so I want to make sure this is plenty clean so that it'll stick on there, that it won't come off. So give me just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this speed controller on there, and then I'll go to mounting this, but I'll actually record mounting the motor and stuff back on there. Okay guys, we got the ESC mounted on. You guys want to make sure that regardless of what ESC you put on here, that you leave, it's got enough room, because there's actually 2 screws that go on it to actually secure this cover that houses your ESC. And so we got that on. We got the ESC on. Next thing we're going to do real quick is we're going to mount this motor back in here as soon as those line up. I showed you guys kind of this before. That's on there. Bam. That clicked in. Slide this down, actually sliding this piece down, pushing that in there, that locks that in. This is the screw that you are going to use to put underneath that to secure this in. So we are going to go here, take a few seconds, screw that in, bam, that's there. One other piece to add, of course, is going to be the plastic drive shaft that's spring launched. Put that in, and bam, we are done. That took all of this video is about 11 minutes, but I talked for a few minutes. So that took all of 12 or 13 minutes just to swap this out and put this system in. I think that when ARRMA, if they release a brushless system, they may change the gear ratio. So they may go with 32 pitch gears. I'm not 100% sure, but that would make a little bit more sense, because this gear ratio still isn't a brushless like type gear ratio. If you were going to do that, you probably want to do like 32 pitch gears or something like that with it. But I'm not sure. I don't know what they'll do for a brushless, and if they'll do a brushless. But I know I've seen on Tower Hobbies that they do offer a wheelie bar for the Granite 4x4 in cents, and they also have a chrome set of wheels. So there may be one coming out. We just don't know when that's going to actually come out. So the only thing I'll have to do is I got to mount my on-off switch, which I'll probably just mount this here. But this is done. Everything is installed, and I'll show this to you guys. Everything is put on here and installed on here. So we are good to go. So you guys stay tuned for a running video. I'm going to run it on 2S. I'll do a quick run, and then of course we'll take it off road and run it as well. So I don't plan on putting 3S in here. 3S power plant may be too much. I'm not 100% sure, but it'll go 35, I don't know, 38 or something like that. It'll go fast enough for what I want to do with trying this brushless system out. So you guys, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, put your comments below, and as always, stay tuned for more videos, and thanks for watching.